of receipts and payments of the year ended 30 June 2021 are at variance with the IFMIS financial reports as indicated. Honorable Speaker, there's a table there that honorable members can look at. The County Assembly Management responds. The management submitted that the reported variances between the financial statement prepared, base reviewed and recorded transaction for the 9 financial years to June 30, 2023, and the IFMIS financial statements were reconciled in financial year 2022 to 2023 in its entirety. IFMIS reports are largely cumulative over periods and transactional. IFMIS reconciliation hadn't been done as of the time the audit for the financial year 2021-2022 was undertaken. The report of the Auditor General for the financial year 2022-2023 significantly demonstrate consistencies between the financial statement figures and the IFMIS report. The committee observation. The financial statement submitted for audit did not conform to the prescribed format issued by the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board, as expressed by the Auditor General. The committee holds that non-compliance is a major concern as it affects the uniformity and consistency of financial reporting in public sector. The committee is persuaded that the non-conformance could have led to misinterpretation or lack of transparency in the financial reporting processes by the County Assembly Management. 2, that the County Assembly Management failed to give explanation on why the reconciliation was not done for cumulative period and as of the time the audit for the financial operations of financial year 2021-2022 was undertaken. Therefore, the committee holds that there was negligence in the Management Accounting Department. Further, the failure to reconcile IFMIS data with the financial statements in a timely manner indicates a lack of internal controls or ineffective financial management practices. 3, following a review of the Audit General Report on the financial year 2022-2023 by the committee, it was found out that the issue was not reported therein, and therefore the explanation given above by the County Assembly Management on this subject matter is unsatisfying and cannot be relied upon. The committee recommendations. The committee recommends as follows, Honorable Speaker, that the County Assembly Management should ensure that future financial statements are prepared in full compliance with the prescribed format issued by the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board. Regular training and awareness program on these standards should be conducted for the accounting team to avoid non-compliance in future. 2, the County Assembly Management should prioritize the reconciliation of financial statements with IFMIS reports for the year under review. It is crucial that any discrepancies are identified and corrected before the submission of financial statements for audit. Implementing an automated or streamlined reconciliation process could help ensure this is done promptly and accurately. 3, that to prevent discrepancies between the financial statements and IFMIS reports, internal controls around data entry, reporting, and reconciliation should be strengthened. A dedicated team should be tasked with reconciling the records regularly and address any discrepancies promptly. This could include the establishment of periodic reviews of both financial statements and IFMIS state reports by the internal audit team. 3, that the County Assembly Management should complete the reconciliation of the financial statement with the IFMIS reports for the financial year 2021-2022. This reconciliation process should be clearly documented and supported with evidence to ensure full transparency and consistency. There was variancy in other pending payables. Observation. The financial statements as disclosed in Note 3 of the other disclosures reflect a balance of 48,720 under other pending payables, whereas Annex 3 reflects a nil balance. In the circumstances, the accuracy and completeness of other pending payables nil balance as of 30th June 2021 could not be confirmed. The County Assembly Management respond. The management responded that this was an error in financial reporting, that similar occurrences of reported inconsistencies of figures in the financial statement disclosures did not happen in subsequent financial years. Measures of examining of the figures before submissions have been introduced in order to ensure that same does not occur in future reports, and preceding financial year reports demonstrate this. The committee observations. Honorable Speaker, the committee made the following observation. One, uncertainty over accuracy and completeness of financial statements. The committee holds that this issue arose due to discrepancies between the figures disclosed in the financial statements and those in Annex 3. The auditor was unable to confirm the accuracy and completeness of the reported balance of other pending payables. This issue suggests that internal controls over the preparation and review of financial disclosures may need improvement. Two, potential impact on financial reporting integrity. While the County Assembly management has stated that the issue was an error and owned it, the committee holds that such discrepancies can have significant impact on the integrity and reliability of financial reporting, resulting to incredibility of management financial reports. And three, the issue never reoccurred in the financial year 2022-2023. Therefore, the committee concludes that the County Assembly management indeed tightened its financial reporting procedures. Committee recommendations. One, the County Assembly management should ensure that the discrepancies between the financial statements, which is Note 3, and Annex 3 are rectified. A detailed reconciliation of other pending payables balance should be performed to ensure that the correct amount is reflected in both financial statements and annexes. Any errors should be corrected promptly, and the reconciliation should be supported with the appropriate documentation. To enforce this, the committee directs that the County Assembly management, within 3 months after the adoption of this report by the House, to submit the reconciled statements of other pending payables to this committee and to the Eldoret Regional Audit General Office for ultimate consideration. Pending conclusion of the recommendation 1 above, the issue remains unresolved. To prevent such errors from occurring in the subsequent years, internal controls over financial reporting should be strengthened. The County Assembly management should ensure that all balances reported in financial statements are cross-checked with supporting documentation and annexes. Any discrepancies should be flagged and resolved prior to finalizing the financial statements. 4, continuous training for the finance team on financial statement reporting standards and the importance of accuracies in disclosures should be prioritized by the County Assembly management, ensuring that all relevant staff are adequately trained on necessary procedures will help minimize chances of error in future financial statements. And 5, the accounting officer responsible for the County Assembly of Nandi to ensure that the next financial statement should clearly disclose any adjustments. Examination of the expenditure records relating to domestic travel and subsistence expenses for sampled vouchers amounting to about 46,665,843 revealed that subsistence allowance was paid off to staff and members of the County Assembly for various activities without issuing temporary impressed or supporting documents such as work tickets, reports, and attendance sheets were not provided. This is contrary to Regulation 104, Section 1 of the Public Finance Management Act of Regulation 2015, which requires all receipts and payments vouchers of public money to be properly supported by pre-numbered receipt and payment vouchers that shall be supported by the appropriate authority and documentation. In the circumstances, the completeness of the daily subsistence allowance of 46,665,843 paid to the members and staff could not be confirmed. The County Assembly management responds. Honorable Speaker, they responded that arising to this audit report, the County Assembly payment mechanism has been improved so that staff and members of the County Assembly attending to various activities are issued with temporary impressed and supportive documents, including work tickets, reports, and attendance sheets before they travel out. An impressed surrender policy approved by the County Assembly has now been implemented and shall be utilized as a guide going forward. Appendix 8 is a copy of the impressed surrender policy that was provided to the committee. The committee findings. After review the submissions, the committee observed that 1, whereas the copy of the impressed surrender policy has been annexed in the submission, the committee found out that the impressed policy was developed back in November of 2019, 2 years before the audit process that resulted to the audit report under review. It is thus apparently reasonable to conclude as a committee that the impressed policy has been in operation since November 2019. The committee therefore holds that the explanation given by the County Assembly management is insufficient and unsatisfactory, and that there is no proper excuse why temporary impress and supporting documents such as work tickets, reports, and attendance sheets were not provided for audit, contrary to Regulation 104 of the Public Finance Management Regulation of 2015. 2, still, the supporting documents have not been provided. Therefore, the impress surrender policy at Appendix 8 does not address the issue, and the breach of Regulation 104, Section 1 of the Public Finance Management Regulation 2015 stands. 3, the inability to obtain the required supporting documents prevented the auditor from verifying that the funds were used for their intended purposes, which undermines the reliability of the reported expenditure. 5, while management has outlined positive steps to improve the payment mechanism and documentation practices, the improvements are largely reactive to audit findings rather than preventive measures. The implementation of the impress surrender policy and ensuring the insurance of temporary impress are a commendable step, but these changes should be backed by robust internal controls and regular monitoring to avoid recurrence of similar issues in the future. The committee recommendations. Honorable Speaker, 1, the committee recommends the following: the immediate implementation of corrective measures, that the County Assembly of Nandi management should ensure that all domestic travel and subsistence allowance are supported by the appropriate temporary impress, work tickets, attendance sheets, and activity reports before any payments are made. This will ensure compliance with Regulation 104, Section 1 of the Public Finance Management Regulation of 2015. For closure of the audit query under review, the committee directs the following: that the County Assembly management, within 3 months after the adoption of this report by the House, to submit all necessary supporting documents mentioned above with regards to domestic travel and subsistence allowance to this committee and to the Eldoret Regional Auditor General Office for ultimate consideration. Pending conclusion of this recommendation, the issue remains unresolved. 2, that the impress surrender policy should be monitored regularly by the accounting officers to ensure its effective implementation. Regular audits of the travel and subsistence processes should be conducted to ensure compliance with the policy, and management should address any deviations promptly. 3, that the finance and administration teams should be trained on the importance of complying with the financial management regulation, specifically on the issuance of temporary impress, and ensuring that all transactions are supported by proper documentation. A clear communication strategy should be developed to ensure that all relevant stakeholders understand their responsibilities. 4, to ensure accountability and transparency, the audit trail for all impress-related transactions should be maintained by the accounting officer. This trail should include details of the impress insurance, supporting documents, and actual expenditure. And 5, that a comprehensive documentation retention policy should be established by the accounting officer of the County Assembly of Nandi, ensuring that all vouchers, reports, and supporting documents are properly filed and accessible for future audits. This will also help in ensuring that there is no loss or destruction of critical financial documentation. 5, there was acquisition of assets, proposed construction of building the modern assembly chambers and offices. Auditor observation. Honorable Speaker, the statement of receipts and payments reflects acquisition of assets of about 40,765,660,000, includes the construction of the building of the modern county assembly, expenditure of about 36,183,745, as disclosed in Note 10 to the financial statements. However, the following anomalies were noted. 1, the payments were not supported by any original interim payment certificate or certificate of payment on account except for payment voucher number 6,160, contrary to Section 34(1) of the contract agreement. 2, payments of the interim certificates were made in piecemeal and supported by copies of payment certificates, which pose a risk of overpayment. A schedule of all payment certificates raised and payments made against each certificate was not provided, and therefore it was not possible to establish the total payments made as of 30th June 2021. 3, the payments were not supported by actual valued works being paid for and supporting schedule for the expenditure provided were for Kenya shillings 36,183,746, whereas documents provided support an expenditure of 51,746,966, resulting to a variance of about 15,563,230. For any amount of 100 million, an amount of Kenya shillings 100 million was provided for in the budget for construction of the building, but only 36,203,904 was received. It is not clear why full funding as budgeted was not received, and there was no evidence provided to indicate that the funds were requisitioned from the control of budget or any possible reason provided for underfunding. 5, the contractor, through letter dated 25th September 2021, reference Nandi 94, gave a notice of slowing down the works due to delayed payments. 6, as at the time of our audit, the project was approximately 70% complete, and there's a risk of stalling if more funds are not obtained for the completion. Consequently, the accuracy of the construction of the building figure for 36,183,746 for the year ending 30 June 2021 could not be confirmed. The County Assembly Management response. The management responded that the attached written submissions addressed the issue as follows: that 1, Appendix 6 is a collation of certified copies of original interim payment certificates or certificate of payments that were used to account for the expenditure in the acquisition of the assets. 2, the reasons for the piecemeal payments of certified amounts were caused by both the delays in the exchequer releases and the constrained funds requisition process that would usually have undocumented upper ceilings that the county treasury subjected the county assembly financial management. These two challenges affected all the payments, including those in respect of acquisition of assets. The circumstances, therefore, arose beyond the scope of the County Assembly of Nandi. 3, the supporting schedules for works paid for are herein attached in Appendix 7 for the unexplained amount of 15,563,230. For the under-absorption of the budget was...
Point of order.
Yes,
Yeah.
what is the point of order?
Just an inquiry, Honorable Speaker. If the report that the chair, or rather the motion that the chair is moving, is on the Auditor General's report of the county, Nandi County Assembly for the year ending 30th June 2021, or the other one, because I'm following through here. What he's reading is different from what is here, so I don't know if, because I have the report on soft copy, or is reading through the 2022, I'm in 2021. Just an inquiry,
Honorable Chair, can
because
you
I'm
respond?
following it up.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The report I'm reading is for the year ending 30 June 2021. I have 4 reports that are coming because we're starting from 2021. There's a 2022 report, 2023 report. So you might be reading a next year report, the following year report. We are still back. Maybe, Honorable Speaker,
Maybe for clarity, can the honorable member clarify which report he is reading?
Honorable Speaker, I'm going through this, the same particular report that was posted in our group and our gadgets here, Honorable Speaker. And just a minute, Honorable Speaker, sorry for that. And on that particular case of where the chair is mentioning on the County Assembly Management submitted that is on page number 39. What I'm reading is it the same?
Honorable Speaker, we're not reading the same report.
Yes.
I'm reading the 2021. I think you're reading the 2022 report.
Then what is provided for in the gadgets? I think there is because here, the year ended June 30th, June 2021. So I don't know if the attachments are just for clarity.
Maybe the ICT team can help you on there, Honorable Speaker, so that I may continue.
Okay.
Okay,
I have the hard copy, Chair.
okay,
Well guided.
thank you. Proceed, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I was on the committee, County Assembly Management Response number 3. The supporting schedule for works paid for the year attached as Appendix 7 for the unexplained payments of 15,563,230. And 4, the under-absorption of the budget was a result of the unexplained twin challenges of the delays in exchequer releases and restrictive funds requisition upper ceilings that the County Assembly was subjected to by the County Executive. The committee observation. From the attached submissions, Honorable Speaker, the committee noted the following: that only one interim certificate for the year under review, dated 18th June 2021, was submitted for payments to the contractor amounting to 27,712,450, whereas the figure in question is above Kenya shillings 36,183,746, which could not be confirmed. The resultant variance of Kenya shillings 8,471,296 could not be traced. And 5, and 2, in the interim certificate, sections of the contractor receipt were not filled, signed, or stamped by the contractor to acknowledge the receipt of the amounts paid to him or her. Therefore, the authenticity of the interim certificates could not be substantiated. And 3, the supporting documents provided do not completely address the absence of original interim payment certificates for several payments. The reliance on copies of certificates raises concerns about the potential for discrepancies or misstatements in the amount paid. 4, the underfunding remains a key issue. While management has explained the delays in exchequer releases, the lack of evidence regarding requisition from the control of budget and no plausible reasons for the underfunding still pose risk to the completion of the project. Lastly, the piecemeal payments, unsupported by complete schedule, continue to prevent the risk of overpayments, which require further verification to ensure that no overpayments were made. The committee recommendations. 1, management should ensure that all payments are supported by original interim payment certificates or certificates of payments on accounts as per the contract agreement. A review of all outstanding payments should be undertaken to ensure that this documentation is provided. 2, a comprehensive schedule of all payment certificates raised and payments made should be prepared by the County Assembly Accounting Officer, with full details on the amount paid, the certificate number, and the works covered by each certificate. This will help avoid the risk of overpayment and ensure that the accuracy of reported expenditure. 3, management of the Nandi County Assembly should reconcile the discrepancies of 15,563,230 by providing a detailed explanation and supporting documents for the expenditure variances. This should include a breakdown of the works and services provided and the corresponding payments. To bring closure to this issue, Honorable Speaker, the committee directs that the County Assembly management, within 3 months after the adoption of this report by the House, to submit all necessary supporting documents for payments of 8,471,231.96 that cannot be traced by the committee to this committee and to the Eldoret Regional Audit General Office for the ultimate consideration. And lastly, the County Assembly should ensure its internal control system to ensure that all payments are properly documented and justified before being processed. This includes the improvement in fund requisition processes and ensuring timely approval of payments in accordance with the contract terms. 6, anomalies in the summary of fixed asset registry. Honorable Speaker, the Auditor General observation in Annex 4 of the financial statements reflects a summary of fixed assets owned by the County Assembly valued about 520,756,866 as of 30th June 2021. Included in the summary of the fixed assets is transport equipment of 72,275,800, which includes a Toyota Prado registration 29CG059 Alpha valued at about 9,270,000, which with a status of not in use. Further, a Peugeot vehicle registration number, KAM 034T, was included in the asset registry without the cost of acquisition. In addition, included in the historical cost balance of 520, 752, 868 in land, buildings, and structures and transport equipment totaling to about 27 million and 360 million, 830 and 72 million, 275 respectively, which was not supported by ownership documents. In view of the foregoing, it is not possible to ascertain the accuracy of the total assets held in the County Assembly as of 30th June 2021. The County Assembly Management responded. The County Assembly Management responded that the Toyota Prado registration number 29CG059 Alpha is now in use. Vehicle registration number KAM034T has since been taken back to its prior owner, the County Executive of Nandi, since the County Assembly of Nandi lacked ownership documents as well as details of acquisition by the defunct local authorities. And 3, land and buildings in land previously owned by the defunct National County Council assigned by the now defunct Transitional Authority to the County Assembly of Nandi has since undergone survey and physical planning process towards titling to its current owner. In few weeks ahead, before the next audit, the County Assembly will have ownership of the documents. The committee findings. Honorable Speaker, in the Audit General Report for the County Assembly of Nandi financial year ending 30 June 2020, the committee interrogated a query on the same subject matter. In its recommendation, with regards to the financial year 2019-2020, the committee made the following recommendations. That the accounting officer of the County Assembly to follow up the matter conclusively with the relevant authorities to review the issue and obtain title deeds and log books. 2, the accounting officer of the County Assembly should ensure a current updated assets registry is maintained and stipulated in Section 149(2) of the PFM Act 2012 and the PFN Act Regulation of 2015, and that is submitted to the Auditor General for verification during audit process. And 3, the accounting officer must at all times ensure that she provides accurate records and other supporting documents pursuant to Section 9 of the Public Audit Act of 2015. Committee recommendations. The committee upholds the above recommendations and directs the accounting officer to adhere to and implement them accordingly. In addition to the following recommendations, as directed by the National Treasury, Circular number 5 of 2024, reference NALM, Section 2(1)C, 106, the County Assembly accounting officer should observe the provisions of Section 4.9 of the policy and on asset and liability management in public sector, which provides for accounting officers of all public sector entities to acquire ownership document of all assets under their jurisdiction. 2, upon acquisition of the title for public land by the accounting officer, the titles be deposited with the National Treasury or the County Treasury as provided by the law for safe custody and record purposes. 3, if faced with difficulties in acquisition of ownership title, the Nandi County Assembly accounting officer should observe recommendation number 8, the above-mentioned National Treasury Circular, to register and secure public land under the custody of the Assembly. The other matter, Honorable Speaker, 1 is the budgetary controls and performance. Auditor observation. The statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts reflects final received budget and actual on comparable basis of Kenya shillings 649,760,259 and Kenya shillings 602,20,510 respectively, resulting to underfunding of 41,739,742 or 6% of the budget. Similarly, the County Assembly spent 564,578,141 against an approved budget of 649,760, resulting to under expenditure of 85,182,111 or 30% of the budget. The underfunding and the underperformance affected the plan activities and may have impacted negatively on service delivery to the public. The Assembly responds that whereas it is true that failure to receive the full budgetary allocation and failure to spend the budgeted full amount means that the plan activities could not be fully implemented. The delays in exchequer issues and subsequent procedures for fund requisition puts any of the 47 county assembly at a major disadvantage, depending entirely on the goodwill of the county governor or the county treasury in order to receive in duly approved shares of the resources. The committee observation. The committee examined the explanation given and found it satisfactory and therefore recommends the Auditor General to mark the issue as resolved. In the subsequent years, the County Assembly of Nandi Management should strive to ensure timely execution of projects and allocate and spend funds, especially at close of the financial year, to other critical areas or save the future use, ensure funds are not lost. Two of the other issues, Honorable Speaker, is pending bills. Annex 1 to the financial statement reflects pending accounts payable balance of about 20,373,944 as of 30 June 2021. Included in the pending bill balance are payments which should have been paid as a first charge in 2014 and 2015, and 2015 and 2016 financial years, but were still outstanding as of 30 June 2021. This is contrary to Regulation 41, Section 2 of the Public Finance Management Regulations of 2015. In addition, the accumulation of pending bills, in contrary to the National Treasury Circular, reference AG 3101/75, which requires accounting officers to establish effective financial controls and maintain financial discipline for efficient use of resources. Consequently, the County Assembly Management was in breach of the Treasury Circular number 10 of 2020 of 16 June 2020, which required accounting officers to ensure pending bills are treated as a first charge on their 2020-2021 financial year approved budget. The Assembly responded. The management submitted that all pending bills have been addressed, notwithstanding the delays in the exchequer releases and constrained upper ceilings of funds requisition. As such, the County Assembly, as a matter of policy, does not accumulate pending bills, since all unsettled bills from the financial years are cleared in the first quarter of the next financial year. Committee observation. Assembly management claims that all bills have since been cleared, though there is no evidence of the same. However, the committee examined the explanation given together with other collaborative documents and resolved that the submission given is satisfactory. Therefore, recommends the Auditor General to mark the issue as resolved. Unresolved prior year audit matters. Honorable Speaker, several issues were raised in the auditor report of 2019-2020 financial year. However, no report or recommendation from the County Assembly oversight bodies were submitted for audit verification or clearance. Further, the issue remained unresolved contrary to Section 149 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which require accounting officers designate for county government entities to try and resolve any issues resulting from an audit that remain outstanding. The Assembly responds. The management submitted that they have been considering the audit queries in preparation of the set financial years each year. The presentation of action plan by the County Assembly is documented in the last pages of the financial statements to the Auditor General. Efforts are being made to clear the backlog as required. Committee observation. 1, that the issue has reoccurred in the past financial years, and therefore the committee holds that the County Assembly management has been in contravention of the above stated PFM Act provision. The committee is persuaded that its recommendations in the past reports are in vain. The failure to submit oversight body reports and recommendation for audit verification limits the ability to confirm whether corrective actions have been taken on audit queries. This could lead to continued financial mismanagement or inefficiencies, undermining accountability and transparencies. 2, that the County Assembly management has been in contravention of Section 14921 of PFM Act of 2012, which provides that the accounting officer should try to resolve any issues resulting from an audit that remain outstanding. The committee recommendation. 1, the County Assembly accounting officer in the subsequent financial year should forward its reports detailing corrective measures put in place following the recommendations of this committee. 2, further to note 1 above, the accounting officer should copy the report and forward letters to this committee and the Committee on Implementation for consideration, that this matter be marked as resolved. Late receipt of the Exchequer issues and variances in the receipt. Honorable Speaker, the statement of receipts and payments reflects Exchequer releases totaling of 666,356,121, which includes recurrent Exchequer of about 608,020,510 and development Exchequer of 58,335,611 as disclosed in Note 1 and 1.2 of the financial statements. However, two development Exchequer releases of 10 million and 12 million, totaling to 22 million, were received on 9th July 2021, while recurrent Exchequer releases of 33 million was received on 1 July 2021. The late receipt of the Exchequer therefore made the funds not readily available to the County Assembly for operations before 30th June 2021. In the circumstances, the value for money on the planned activities and operations as budgeted could not be confirmed. The response from the Assembly, they submitted that this is a recurring circumstance and is beyond the control of the County Assembly. However, efforts in cash flow management are being made to ensure that this state of affairs is addressed appropriately. Committee observation that the matter of delay Exchequer releases majorly is beyond the control of the county's entities across 47 counties, that the explanation given is satisfactory. Honorable Speaker, report on lawfulness and effectiveness in the use of public resources. Compensation of employees. One is non-compliance on wage bill. The statement of receipts and payments of the year ending 30th June 2021 reflects a compensation of employees of about 368,248,236, which is approximately 55% of the total revenue of 666 million. The expenditure therefore exceeds the recommendation ratio of 35 under Regulation 25 of the PFM Act. Consequently, the County Assembly management is in breach of law, and the wage bill may not be sustainable unless adequate measures are put in place to contain the rising wage cost. The Management Assembly responds. They submitted that the County Assembly of Nandi is one of the two arms of County Government of Nandi that is purely cost to the county government and not revenue earning. That A, the reading of the regulation is applicable to the entire county government of Nandi and not departments or the county assembly itself. B, the regulation of the maximum staff numbers per each of the 47 county assemblies is set by the Commission of Revenue Allocation. County Assembly of Nandi staffing currently at that time was 84, and the existing regulation maximum of the County Assembly Nandi was 100, as one of the county assemblies with MCAs representing 30 wards. The SRC issue guidelines on the pay scale and also regularly reviews assess the extent to which the county assemblies and the county executives have applied the circulars. County Assembly of Nandi has never floated any of the SRC regulations or circulars. Committee observations. There are gaps on laws and regulations regarding the application of 35% wage bill limit to the counties, entities, resulting to divergence in interpretation of the current laws. Recommendations of the committee. Honorable Speaker, the committee assembly management should seek clarification from the relevant regulatory authorities, that is the National Treasury and the Public Service Commission, on the applicability of the 35% wage to revenue ratio to individual county assemblies. A formal opinion or clarification will ensure that the county assembly is compliant with the applicable regulations. 2, while the county assembly may be within the staffing limit set by the CRA, it is essential to assess whether the existing staff structure and wages are sustainable in light of overall revenue levels. A strategic staffing plan should be developed to ensure that the wage bill is aligned with the financial capacity of the county assembly. 1.2 is the failure to adhere to the 1/3 rule of the basic pay. Observation. Audit review of the county assembly payrolls for the year ending 30 June 2021 revealed that some employees of the county assembly were receiving net salaries which were less than 1/3 of their respective basic salary, contrary to Section 19(3) of the Employment Act of 207. The management respond. They submitted that while the provisions of Section 193 of the Employment Act of 207 has not adhered to the appropriate by the county assembly management because car loans and mortgage loans deductions. The SRC guidelines entitled members of the county assembly to these loans, and they were advanced as an entitlement. The County Assembly shall establish criteria which will ensure that loan advances is based on individual assessment of their respective payslip could adhere to the 1/3 rule of the basic pay. The committee observation. The committee observes that the issue is recurring. Further, the committee attributes the recurrence of the matter to lack of detailed procedure or time frame provided for implementation. The measures highlighted above to rectify the situation. Without proper individual assessment and controls, the risk of continued non-compliance remains very high. The committee recommends the following: that 1, the management should ensure that the proposed corrective actions, including the criteria for loan eligibility and repayment terms, are implemented within reasonable time frame with clear accountability. A follow-up review should be conducted to ensure that corrective measures are being adhered to and are effective in maintaining compliance. Should the issue reoccur again in the subsequent years, the committee warns the County Assembly management that stern measures will be taken to ensure compliance. 2, the County Assembly management should develop a clear and comprehensive policy for managing car and mortgage loans, ensuring that such loans are only provided to MCAs and staff of the County Assembly after an individual assessment based on their financial capacity and existing deductions. The policy should detail how deductions will be structured to avoid any conflicts with the 1/3 rule of the basic pay. The policy should include guidelines on how loan amounts and repayment terms will be decided. And 3, the County Assembly management should conduct an immediate review of all current loans deducted for MCAs and other employees, ensuring that any existing deductions are within the limits set by the Employment Act. If an employee is affected, steps should be taken to correct the discrepancies immediately, which may include adjusting the loan repayment terms or restructuring the loans to comply with the 1/3 gender rule. The County Assembly management should establish regular monitoring and audit processes for salary payments and loan deductions to ensure ongoing compliance with both the Employment Act and SRC guidelines. This monitoring should include periodic internal audits and external reviews. 3, failure to observe 1/3 staff establishment rule. Audit review of the payroll of the 12-month ending 30 June 2020 revealed that the County Assembly had a total of 81 employees, excluding members of the County Assembly, out of which all 81, or 100% of staff, are from the same ethnic community. This is contrary to Section 7, 1, and 2 of the National Cohesion and Integration Act of 2008. The County Assembly responds: It's true that all the County Assembly employees are from one dominant community. As a consequence of purely competitive employment of the County Assembly Service Board, as per the law, transitional arrangement in the establishment of the County Assembly of Nandi unfortunately resulted in the devolution of employees from one dominant community. Committee observation. The committee observed that the issue is recurring. 2, further, there is an over-presentation of one ethnic group. The County Assembly workforce, which is entirely composed of individuals from one same ethnic group, is concerning, as it raises questions about the fairness and transparencies of the recruitment process, such as ethnic imbalance may lead to perceptions of bias and exclusion of other communities in the recurrent process, which contradicts the principle of national cohesion. In its explanation, the management has not submitted measures put in place to address the issue. 2, the County Assembly management attributes this problem to a transitional arrangement during the establishment of the County Assembly of Nandi, which led to the devolution of employees from one dominant community. While this response provides context, it does not address the current lack of ethnic diversity or the potential negative consequences of such imbalances. Therefore, Section 7, 1, and 2 of the National Cohesion Integration Act of 2008 is in breach. Honorable Speaker, allow me to go to the conclusion of this report. Honorable Speaker, it is critical that the County Assembly management addresses the concerns raised by the audit and implements the necessary corrective actions as soon as possible. Timely and effective responses to these findings will not only help rectify existing gaps, but will also enhance governance framework, improve operational efficiency, and mitigate potential risk. The responsible accounting officer is encouraged to, 1, fully implement and adhere to legal and regulatory requirements, including preparing and submitting the necessary financial statements and remitting statutory deductions on time. 2, strengthen internal controls, particularly in the ICT environment, by ensuring establishment of robust disaster recovery plans, system change management processes, and security measures. And 3, ensure that the County Assembly Service Board has adequate financial reporting systems and separate budgeting mechanism in place to comply with the law. By addressing these issues, Honorable Speaker, the County Assembly can move towards achieving full compliance, improving transparency, and safeguarding the interests of stakeholders, including the public, the County Assembly staff, and the relevant statutory bodies. It is imperative that the management takes swift and decisive action to resolve these matters, to avoid adverse implications and build a solid foundation for effective governance and accountability moving forward. As a watchdog committee, we trust that the management will take these findings and recommendations seriously and work towards remedying the highlighted deficiency to secure a favorable audit opinion in the future. Honorable Speaker, I therefore wish to confirm that the recommendations of the committee in this report were unanimous. It is therefore my duty and privilege on behalf of the County Assembly Committee on Public Accounts to therefore request that this Honorable House to adopt this report and approve it, subject to all proposed recommendations. I want to call Honorable Terik to second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I was rise to second. And first is to thank our chair and the entire committee for having deliberated on this voluminous detailed report. During the report, when you are discussing the report for the financial year that ended in June 2021, there are so many issues that have been highlighted by the committee. One of the reports that we dealt with during the discussion was, this was a qualified opinion report. There were great variances on IFMIS and financial statements that were not well adhered to. During the discussion, we found out that lack of transparency was being exposed throughout the report, and we made some various and strong recommendations over it. First of all is that the management should always do regular and monthly reconciliation of their statements, be it on cash basis and also the financial statements that occur within the institution. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that there was also a rise of unsupported cash and unsupported cash that was spent. We also emphasize on the same issue, whereby the management, through the expertise that they have, to have regular documentation so that they can account for any expenditure within the assembly. And also the third one was that I observed is that through there was also the assets within the assembly. The assembly had no any documentation over it. We've raised as a committee whereby all the assets of this assembly should be well documented and guided by the principles formed in this place also. We've also highlighted that the land that we are in, they should look for the title, as we have also advised through the recommendation, so that the possession will be within the assembly. Another thing was also, we observed the surrender of the interest. We've highlighted also that the responsibility of the surrender, they should be adhered to, like mostly following on the work tickets should be presented. Interest surrender policy should be followed. This was something formed due in 2019, and this was the document that we are making was for 2021. So we recommended that the management should put in practice the policy that we've put in place. And finally, Mr. Speaker, sir, is about the pending bills. We found out that there were audit query on pending bills. And these some things that occurred because of poor updating of our system, since this matter could have been dealt away and it should not recur again coming to 2022. On the matter of issue of like pending a third rule of loan, maybe from the staff and the employees, this is something else that we discussed them that they should make a review before allowing more loans to be given to members. I stand to support the report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, I now put that this House adopts the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the Auditor General's report on the County Assembly of Nandi for the year ended 30th June 2021, laid on the table of the House on 2nd September 2025. Honorable members, the floor is open for debate. Yes, Honorable Birech.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, as far as we want to support this report done by Committee on Public Accounts Committee, Honorable Speaker, it is very important that the report is tied together with Auditor General's report, Honorable Speaker, because as we speak, we don't have financial statements here. What we do have here is only the reconcile IFMI's financial reports as indicated here. But the financial statements for this specific year has never been attached to this report because we don't have statement of financial performance, we don't have cash flows for us to confirm on the issues of cash and cash equivalents. So, Honorable Speaker, I would really want to urge the PAC committee that going forward, for the purpose of members to recheck and to reconfirm what is in their report against the report of Auditor General, it's very important to attach the audited books of accounts to this particular report. Honorable Speaker, the nature of this report is qualified. And I believe on qualified report, the financial statements were fully provided to the auditor. And there's a very serious case here that members of Public Accounts Committee raised and they observed. And largely based on County Assembly Management response on the acquisition of other proposed construction buildings, modern County Assembly chambers offices. Honorable Speaker, we were expecting to see if the matter has been resolved or not. But as we speak here, the committee have said it has not been resolved. It's a very serious matter. Honorable Speaker, to find a resultant variance of, a resultant variance, we are talking variance of 8.4 million cannot be traced. Honorable Speaker, it's a very serious matter because these issues are not being resolved. If it could have been resolved here, it means it has been explained and fully closed. But because that has been resolved and we have a variance of 8.4 on matters to do with the new County Assembly chambers, it requires serious investigations. And I think the committee recommendations is not enough. It's not enough. We really need to, if possible, could have amended this report and had other matters because we are talking of 2020. Honorable Speaker, this report is 2021, 2020, 2021. Honorable Speaker, we are now in 2024, 2025, or 2025, 2026. We are much behind, Honorable Speaker. And most probably, the problems have been carried forward. It also affects, if audit query has not been resolved in that prior area, it reoccurs in the next financial year, So I believe up to now, we still have a variance of 8.4 million, which are not resolved. So I believe now the PAC, which I was member, Honorable Speaker, will take this matter seriously and make sure that serious recommendations should be made. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Birech. Honorable members, the floor is open for debate. Silence means Honorable Chelule.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to support the adoption of this report, which has highlighted serious discrepancies in the management of funds in this assembly. I totally agree with the recommendations made by the committee of PIC and PAC, of which I was a member until recently. And the accounting officers of this assembly should be brought to book. With regard to the loss of funds, unexplained loss of funds, amounting to, was it 8.4 million? We cannot allow this state of affairs to continue in this assembly. That is my take, Mr. Speaker. I support the adoption of this report, and action should be taken on the culprits. Thank you.
Thank you, member from Songosoba. Honorable Maina from Lesos.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have listened carefully to what has been presented, and I would like to say, Honorable Speaker, that it makes for very depressing sort of situation. I was at some point at a loss until I noted that the report is about 2021. So, however, be that as it may, it's also clear to us, Honorable Speaker, that the officers concerned are within this assembly. So I don't know whether it is the finding of the committee that they were not cooperative, that they could not, that they refused to present some of the, because if say the OAG discovered that certain documents were missing, and then I think it would be foolhardy for a committee of this house to come and tell us again that the same documents are missing, unless they are now saying that they are completely unavailable, in which case that begins to border on some criminality. And it really is a fairly serious issue. In fact, I didn't know how it is that we are supposed to consider this report, because I think this is the point at which, Honorable Speaker, the oversighter probably is now being called upon to clean their house. And so this really makes for a lot of thought. I don't even know what the implications would be when we say we have adopted the report, and so it looks as if, I don't know whether now somehow by adopting the report, we will be able to compel is it that the report required to be passed first to give the power to the committee to compel the officers concerned? I thought they still had the power to do it, even before. So I am at a loss in as far as that is concerned, because being a committee of this house and dealing with this house, then it should have been a little bit more straightforward for those officers to avail all the information to the committee. So I see a situation where probably there has been a back and forth, but I would like to urge the committee to move with a little bit of speed. And I wouldn't know, Honorable Speaker, then who is looking at 2024. If we have such discrepancies in 2021, what about right now? So are those questions also, are they being looked at, and who is looking at them? The 2020 today. So I think, Honorable Speaker, this really is a wake-up call for all of us. Listening to this, I feel that there is something that is terribly wrong, even including this building, the one that is out here, which everyone agrees we should already be using it. But somehow it doesn't seem to be going on, but you hear that there was some copies of some certain documents which are not original, that payments were made, but they were not supported by original documents. This is perturbing. Even when it comes to questions regarding financial statements. And this is coming to us. So probably at some point, Honorable Speaker, this House should should probably, go behind the tent, as they sometimes say. And then we ask ourselves some serious questions on how it is that we are, because when you have such findings from a committee, it's fairly serious. So I agree with an earlier speaker who said that probably there was a requirement to buttress or to improve the report. So I do not know whether it would then be wise to, if it was up to me, then probably this report could have come in a different form. But I think it is progress to allow it to move forward. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. Maybe I will now call upon the chair to give right of reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me opportunity to give right of reply. Honorable Speaker, the Committee of PAC, or Public Accounts Committee, does what we call a post-mortem report. After things have been done, we just come to the House to bring the report of what has happened. And Honorable Speaker, the committee will bring the report as it is. Once we're doing the investigation and we do interrogations and we are here with the accounting officers, we will bring the report as it is. The recommendations, if you allow me to just go back to the 8 million that was accounted, directed that the management within 3 months after the adoption of this report. Honorable Speaker, we did the interrogation in May. We could have done this already, but because we're adopting it today, that within 3 months, all necessary documentations for the payments of the 8.4 million, that could not be traced by the committee, right? Because we come we are part and parcel of the House, but we need the House authority to ensure that the report is adopted so it can be effective. To give us those documents and to also give to the Auditor General for consideration, so we can make sure that all the money during at that time is done. Honorable Speaker, serious allegations, serious investigations need to be undertaken. But I want to thank the House. They have come up with the investment committee, which can really save us on actually where we are. The County Public Investment Committee, because this building is part of investments, can dive right in to figure out where we are. But my committee, Honorable Speaker, waits for the Auditor General to do audits of the financial reports. Then they take action, or we bring a report to this House. So I want to recommend to the House, let's adopt this report. In 90 days, Honorable Speaker, we come back. I'll even seek a statement on the implementation from the implementation committee about this report. Because the recommendation only gives us 90 days for them to submit this report. So, Honorable Speaker, I'll even be seeking a statement from the Committee of Implementation to ensure that the recommendations within 30 days that have been given in this report, because these are serious allegations, are actually followed through. So that it's a serious business. Honorable Speaker, the counting officer, during the interrogation, the counting officer was here, but he has people who work under him. At the time of the interrogation, they were not here. They were gone for training somewhere, so they could not provide those documents. So we allowed, as a committee, 90 days for those documents to be provided.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
We can get accountable.
What is the point of order, Honorable Birech?
I just want to seek clearance from the Chair, Public Accounts Committee, specifically on committee observation, because as he explains, on the issue of variance of 8.4 million, Honorable Speaker, and the recommendation that they have made is the committee directs the County Assembly Management in 90 days after adoption of this report by the House to submit necessary supporting documents. OAG report, Honorable Speaker, is conclusive on the nature of audit opinion. It is the qualified. It is the qualified audit opinion. It means the necessary documents had been provided. Which other extra documents do committee expects the County Assembly in regards to this building to provide? Yet the nature of the audit opinion is qualified. The documents had been provided fully to the auditor, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, when we were doing the interrogation, the Auditor General is with us. What the Office of the Counting Officer of the County Assembly provided were copies of the reports which was not satisfied. So the committee and the Auditor General required original payment certificates, which could not be provided at the time. So we have asked them to provide those to the committee and to the Auditor General so that this issue could be resolved. Pending that, the issue is unresolved because you cannot provide copies of something and you have the originals. So the Auditor General needs to look at the original certificates, payment certificates, so that these issues can be resolved. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Point of order. I wanted to seek some clarification, Mr. Speaker, arising from the report and the reply that the ABO Chair is giving. I was also of the opinion that this is a case of closed files, Mr. Speaker. So when the Chair gives some recommendations for a report that they were just delving into, I don't know whether is it really possible, Mr. Speaker, or is it a comment that is just going to excite the House, and that is all, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know, the Public Accounts Committee is a different kind of committee. Number one, when the Auditor General comes to do an audit, there is a process that takes place and requires copies and documents and financial statements so they can go do a report. Once the financial year ends, they come back and sit down with the audited entities and require documents. If we are sitting during interrogations with the Auditor General and they're telling you what they provided was not enough, was not sufficient, we bring a report to the House so that as a House, we can now ensure that the required reports by the Auditor General are provided so that this audit query can be resolved. I know it's very difficult, but we're almost as a post-mortem. We ask for why somebody died, not to save them. They're already dead. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I beg to move.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable members, I now put the question that this House adopts the report of the Public Accounts Committee on the Auditor General's report on the County Assembly of Nandi for the year ended 30th June 2021, laid on the table of the House on 2nd September 2025. As many as of the same opinion say aye.
Aye.
As many as of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, adjournment.
Honorable members, this House stands adjourned until Tuesday, 2:30 p.m.